Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the session where I'm going to be showing you how to use the linear method to make the connection between the independent and dependent variables for a raw set of data. A reminder that some of the things we need are the parent graphs and parent functions. As I mentioned here in class, we're going to be using 3 of them for sure. But of course, you saw a whole page of them the other day. Second of all, we need the slope equation still, because the goal is to find a line, find the slope, because this slope gives us the magic number that makes the connection. As usual, we're going to pay careful attention to updating x and not being confused that it can still be an x coordinate, even though it looks busy with square roots and squares and stuff. Lastly, a reminder, text your friend. Okay, grade 11, grade 12's linear regression. If you know what that is and can do that in your calculator, go ahead. All we do is just need the slope when it's a line. If it's not a line, got to go back and do it again. So let's take a look. These are the numbers that we got for this question. Again, by design, so that they work for me and for the example here. So also a reminder: if you have a bunch of decimals and such, then that's what you're stuck with, and you have to use them. So the first step is to create the graph of the data that we have here, in order to see what parent function is going to fit these results. So let's see what we got for numbers. All the way to 9. We did our trick of dividing by halves, but that gives 4.5, so that means that one's off. And then dividing 4.5 is 2.25, and then 1.125, that's off too. I'm just going to go to 10. No, I'm going to go to 8. We'll do it like this. We'll have it out at 8. We'll give it a little extra 9. So that goes to the 4. Half, half. By the way, if you're graphing trig functions, this is kind of a cool way to do it. Get the period, cut it in half, half, half. You get all the zeros and maximums and stuff. Anyways, let's stick to this. Challenging enough, eh? We got our 2, 4, 6 with our scraggly 9 we're going to have over there. And up at the top, I'm going to do 8 again. Lucky 8. 8 goes there. Divided in half, we get a 4. That marks the 2. That marks the 6. Let's put it in place. Although I guess it's almost unnecessary given the announcement from the last video. This is the eyebrow. That's what we know. That's what we created. That's what the point of this video is. So it should look like an eyebrow. 0, 0, mark it off. Show you thought about it. I'm going to do, I guess go in order. X is 1. So that's 2. That's 4. 3. Split that. Right about there. Technology is your friend. Okay, we get when x is 4, we're up at 5, which that goes to the 6. That's the 4, so split it. Goes like that. You know, it's looking pretty straight to begin with, but this part here, if you really zoom in, you'll see that this part's steeper than this, and then this next part's going to get even more less steep or more shallow. So with x being 9, that's out here, and this goes up to not 8, a hair down. Oh, it's at 9 as well. So let's not move that over. So I can say something like that. Camera's got a better view. So we sketch it out. And yeah, as promised, something like that there. Connecting the dots. If you did it with straight, I mean, I know it's curved ahead of time. I guess they're all the lines are curved. All the lines are curved? All the lines are curved. So you can join them with curvy dots. Join them with curvy dots. Join them with curvy lines in order to get a reasonable looking shape. But if you connect it with straight lines, it might look a little awkward, but it should still get you to the point where we're at now, and that is to see the shape and see and then know which are the parent graphs, which are the parent functions we're looking at here, and we have. So call it the eyebrow, and this means it's a square root. And this means that y is related to the square root of the x values. Or so the graph suggests. Right? Officially, we're not sure. We have to check to make sure it makes a line. We believe it's this. Let's try it. We'll update it to the square root of x. We'll update this to the square root of x. And then we'll update our x's. I don't think I really highlighted this in the other videos, but part of the reason I set up the questions like this is to make this transfer straight across like that, nice and easy, because of what can happen there. So perhaps if you might want to do that if you're working on these questions yourself, or somehow just try and set it up in a way that works for you. Now we're going to create the updated x. So that'll be square root of 9, 3. Square root of 4, 2. Square root of 1, 1. Square root of 0, don't be nervous, it's 0. Square root of negative 1, not today. Different class. It's there, but not here. Alright, so square root of 0 is okay. You just get 0. The y values, transfer them over. No change. 7.5, 5, 2.5, and 0. Okay, we will sketch this to see if it's a line. It will be. Spoiler alert. But I just noticed these x values, I put them in backwards compared to the usual. Usually it's 0, it starts here and then up. Not sure why, but doesn't. Of course, it doesn't affect the results or anything. Someone might just be wondering, why is it like that? Just happened to do it. So let's graph these out. What do we got? For the x, it goes to 3. So I make it fat out to 3. Halves are nice, but we can split it into thirds, okay. That's a 2, big 3. It goes up to, we'll do the 8 again, because there is no change, so keep it the same. 8, 4, the 6, and the 2. So let's put these in there. We do want the answer professionally incorrect, but if you're going for marks, show what you're thinking. Do those first. Okay, 2 and 5. Those are nice. 2 and 5. Now start the struggle if you want. Okay, so half of that, that's a 8, 6. Half is the 7 at the 3. Sounds like football. And then up by a half then, so somewhere around there. So see there's a couple of spots. I don't know if you can see them, but this is the original. This is from our data, that's from our data, and that's from our data. That's from another page. Coloring through. We got 3 and 7.5, 1 and 2.5. So this is 2, 4, half is a 2, and up a little bit. Right around there. Okay, so as promised, as designed, it is a line, so the logic is, or the order, since it is a line, it's confirmed that this is correct. Okay, so it's a line, that's good. We can continue to find the slope to make the connection between these numbers here. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Show the formula when? Always. Nice numbers. 0, 0 for sure. That's a keeper. And then, I guess we could, but 2 and 5, it's probably nicer, right? We'll just do those. Your choice, by the way. So working on these, we get 5 over 2. Fractions are wonderful. Super exact, by the way. So professionals can keep them. Or because it happens to be a nice one, it's 2.5, of course. So in this case, either will work. But honestly, to be precise, as we saw with significant figures, precision, creating the ultimate engine, let's pay attention to some detail. All right, and fractions allow that to happen. So what next? The end. The final piece. We create the formula, which has the structure of the y variable equal to the slope times the parent function, or the updated x, our slope is 5 over 2. As I said, 2.5 in this case if you want. And our updated x, which we used, which matches the picture, so square root of x. This was pretty good, you guys. I'm not sure where your mathematical careers and such are, but this is pretty good stuff. Now, by now you might have this process memorized, and that's good. For the record, you don't need to. What you will use this for with labs and such, so you can pull out these videos, examples, your notes and such, in order to work through the process, in order to make your own connections between your own sets of the data that you will get. Okay, but hopefully over these videos you've had a chance to become familiar with this process, recognize what the steps are, become familiar with some algebra, the use of these functions that you learn in class, so that you can have the power and the ability to make the connection between sets of data and create the equation that describes the data. Because after all, I think when we listen to the radio, they're often talking about a curve of some sort. So where does that curve come from? And what can we do with it? I think some pretty good things once you get things figured out. All right? So I'm going to leave that up to you right now. Conclude it here. Rewind it again, of course, to practice it. But then, of course, I'm sure there are other things for you to do by now. Okay, thank you. Take care. See you next time.